What's up YouTube? Welcome to my channel. This is NeoBall and I'm Brendan McCann. On this channel I'm obviously going to be very closely following NIO and some other stocks along the way. Now if you're new, the premise of this channel is I'm trying to turn an initial $50,000 investment into $2 million over 3 years with investing along the way. So if you are new, welcome. But I suggest you go back and watch my first video as it explains my position on why I'm so bullish on NIO. Now, I will be covering any major bits of news that come out. Today's video, the bulk of it, is pros and cons of NIO as I see it. Before we get into that, I'm just going to cover a couple of bits of news that have come out this week. So at this juncture I need to tell you, as always, I am not a financial advisor. Anything in this video is just my personal opinion and not to be taken as financial advice. So that being said, let's get into the video. So before the news, let's take a quick look at NIO. At the time of this recording, it's just after market open on Wednesday the 9th of September. As you can see, NIO sat around $17. Let's hope it goes up today. So one thing I just want to mention briefly that's been in the news that everyone's freaking out about is the fact that NIO had issued some convertible bonds to raise money. Now, those bonds as of this Monday are able to be converted into shares and sold, which will dilute the current shares by about 6% on that particular bond. Now, I've looked into it myself and I'm okay with the situation. It's not ideal, but I still remain bullish on NIO. However, everyone must do their own research. So I'm going to add the 2 links below in the description. And both these guys come down slightly on different sides of the coin. They're both super smart guys and they know their stuff. So take a look at those videos and maybe that will help you make your own decision on where this issue is with you. Is it a problem? Do you want to hold? Do you want to sell? Do you want to carry on being bullish? But there has been some really great news for NIO. Despite the fact the markets are down, and NIO is down 15% for the week, down to $17 as of close Tuesday, an analyst from Deutsche Bank, Edison Yu, has upgraded the stock to a buy with a price target of $24. Now, this on its own is good news, but when you couple that with the good news we've just had about record car sales of last month, 3,965 cars, I mean together those pieces of news should really push a stock only one way. Well, we hope so, but don't quote me on that. So that's the news out of the way, let's get into the bulk of the video, which is going to be pros and cons of NIO as I see it. Now, I'm going to keep this list short because it could go on forever, but I will focus in on a few key issues that I believe are the sorts of things that could either make or break NIO as a company, and they were the things that I was considering before I invested in NIO. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe because it really does help out the channel, and add any comment below. I'd love to know your position. Are you invested in NIO? Do you want to invest in NIO? What your general thoughts are on the company. Anyway, all that being said, let's get into the video. Pro number 1 for me is the backing behind NIO. Now, as I mentioned before in my last video, the local Hefe government saved NIO with a $1.5 billion bailout, which for that they got 25% of the business almost. But with recent dilution, some of that money's being paid back, I believe around $350 million, and they're taking back 9%. The government will still retain 15% of the business for now, and potentially in the future they'll be buying back more. In my opinion, having the government involved still is a great thing. I think even moving forward, as they're able to repay, they shouldn't completely. The government should always retain 5 or 10% because I just think having them involved is worth its weight in gold. I mean, currently the battery swapping technology is backed by the government. The tax incentives are only for changeable batteries, which is gonna really push the battery as a service. The other big player as I see it is Tencent. Tencent own around 15% of NIO and they are an absolute giant. They're invested in more than 200 companies from tech, social media to healthcare, and the list goes on. They also own a huge app called WeChat which financially pretty much runs the country. almost all transactions that people do within that country, like from getting on a train or buying some groceries, is all done on WeChat. And there are many more investors in NIO, and very important investors. However, for me in China, these are the main two, as they have so much influence in that country. And they're not just going to throw their money away. They're going to have analysts that are a lot smarter than I'll ever be, picking apart these businesses, looking at business plans which probably span years into the future to see if it's viable to get a return. And if it's not, they won't be investing. Now, that's not to say that these companies cannot fail. However, it can give you a certain amount of confidence that they could and should succeed in the future. Pro number 2 is NIO CEO and co-founder William Li. He was born in 1974 into a dairy farming family. He rose to fame in 2000 when he founded BitAuto, which provided internet and marketing services for China's automotive industry. BitAuto grew to be valued at $1 billion. Now, Li sold in 2013 before going on to co-found NIO in 2014. So Mr. William Li is what's known as a genuine self-made billionaire. This is the person you want to invest in, and that's why I see it as a massive pro. I mean, you want to invest in him or this guy? Sorry for hating on Trevor a bit, everyone's jumping on that bandwagon. I actually have no issue with Nicola. I wouldn't invest with them, but anyway, each to their own. Pro number 3 is BaaS, Battery as a Service. Roll here. Pro number 3 is the BaaS, Battery as a Service. On August 20th, 2020, NIO Inc. launched Battery as a Service, known as the Battery Asset Company. This allows users who purchase the ES8, the ES6 or EC6 models to use a 70 kilowatt hour battery under the BaaS model with the BaaS subscription of 980 RMB or $150 per month. The users can enjoy a 70,000 RMB or $10,000 discount on any of the models. Under this subscription, users will not only have the convenience of swapping their batteries out at any time, with the ease of the battery swap, users will be safe in the knowledge that any future advancements in battery technology will not leave them behind. The Battery Asset Company is split 4 ways, 25% to NIO Inc., 25% to CATL, a global leader in the development and manufacturing of lithium-ion batteries, 25% to Hubei Science and Technology Investment Group, which undertake major infrastructure construction, industrial park construction, keen industrial investment, scientific and technology financial services, and 25% to GTJAI. Their core services include wealth management, corporate finance, loans and financing. Now, this is an incredibly smart move in my opinion to have these 4 companies involved, as they have all bases covered. This is going to make it extremely easy to grow the infrastructure and the business of BaaS. So con number 1 is the fact that NIO is a Chinese company. Now, for me, I'm not overly concerned about that. However, I'm putting it at number 1 because there are a lot of people out there who just wouldn't even consider investing in a Chinese company. And I have to be fair to them, there's good reason behind their thinking. What you may not know is that no foreign entity can hold any stake in any Chinese company, which means if a Chinese company wants to float on, say, the New York Stock Exchange, they must open what's known as a VIE. This is a variable interest entity, and they normally reside in, say, for instance, the Cayman Islands. Now, this is like a shell company, so you're actually investing in that and not directly into the original company. Now, because of this, the company in China is not held to the same regulations. For instance, they are not audited by a third-party auditor from the United States. And this can lead to fraudulent claims. Case in point, Luckin Coffee. They claimed $300 million in false revenues. And once they were discovered, their stock price crashed, and subsequently they were delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. Now, you have to agree, there is very good reason why people will be worried about investing in Chinese companies. Con number 2 is plain and simple competition. Now, in China from 2016 to 2020, the amount of EV companies registered tripled to over 400. 400 sounds like quite a lot. However, most of them aren't really in direct competition with NIO. They're completely different price points, they're fighting for a different piece of the market. Now, in the top 10 there is some big competition. I mean, you have BYD, Lee Motors, Xpeng, and of course, the number one spot, Tesla. Con number 3 is the Roni virus. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we're all fully aware of the situation. What I will say is it's probably far from over. Now, until we get a proven vaccine, no one can say how long it's going to go on for. And also, no one really knows the future social or economic implications of this. Now, because of that, it seems to be not if, but when the next big crash is going to come. And that is a huge issue for every business. So, they're my pros and cons. Obviously, there are a lot more pros and cons. For instance, I know people will be watching this and saying, well, what about the fact that they're not profitable yet and they owe a lot of money? Yeah, there are. I've just highlighted some of the ones that I think are quite important. However, everyone must do their own research. If you're going to invest money, you have to look at both sides of the coins. You have to look at the pros and the cons. You can't just be bullish. Now, for me, I've evaluated my situation and I'm willing to gamble the money I am. And as I said previously in my other video, I am more of a gambler than an investor. However, I have done my research and for me, I feel that it's worth it. So I'll tell you one more time, I'm not a financial advisor. Anything in this video is just my personal opinion and it's meant for entertainment purposes only. In the description below, I've added a link to Trading 212. If you use that link, we both get free shares, which is great. Now, these videos do take a long time to make, so don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps out the channel, and add any comments below. So finally, I'd just like to say thanks for your support, guys. Since I started this channel, I've had a lot of conversation with friends and family. They all think I'm crazy, that I'm gambling, and I'm self-proclaimed I am gambling a little bit. However, I'm a dreamer, and as John Lennon once said, don't shoot. John Lennon once said, I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. So on that note, guys, be safe, and if you can't be safe, be lucky.